Hello and welcome to True Crime Diary, a light-hearted podcast on a serious subject. Every 2 weeks we look back through true crime stories to discuss an event that took place on this week in history. I'm your host Mark Decana, and with me as always are my friends Jed Lester.
Hello.
And Rue Turner.
Hello.
The date we're looking at this episode is the 9th of May, and in 1671... a man dressed as a parson and his companions while visiting the Tower of London suddenly fell upon the Keeper of the Jewels, who was beaten down and tied up, shouting, "Treason! Murder! The crown is stolen!"
I've got a friend. It's not me, it's a friend who's asking a question.
Is he a parson?
When you say the crown jewels, did you say the crown jewels?
The crown.
Jewels that are on a crown.
And
the crown.
Okay, we're referring
Not
here...
not the jewels of the crown.
No?
But the crown jewels.
The crown jewels.
Ah, right. Okay. Well, there you go. I thought it was some jewels that are on a sellotape to a crown. So we're not talking about the crown.
We're talking about the crown.
The crown is one of the crown jewels.
Entity.
Wow, this is the worst introduction ever.
As an entity,
yes,
not
the
as
crown
a
of the...
thing that you put on your head.
Yeah, the crown of
fine.
England.
Okay, yeah, all right.
And the orb and the sceptre too.
Right. What happened?
Problem, buddy? Huh?
Okay.
So what happened in this guy's life that led him up to the point where he thought stealing the crown jewels was a good idea?
Well, picture the scene. So we're back to the English Civil War period.
Yes.
Civil War was, of course, in 1642.
Yes.
That's when war broke out.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about Roundheads and Cavaliers, Cromwell and the Parliament versus the Crown, currently held by Charles I. Okay.
Whose side was he on then?
Well, we're talking about a man self-styled as Colonel Blood. So Thomas Blood, he called himself a colonel. Don't know that he ever was a colonel.
Right. I was going to say, by self-styled, I think we can assume he never was.
Yeah, we know he was a lieutenant at one point for sure. So
it's quite a good name, though, isn't it?
Colonel Blood, yeah.
Colonel Blood. Yeah. So he was born and raised of a well-to-do family in Ireland. At the outbreak of the Civil War, he came to fight for the crown. So he became Cavalier, fighting on the side of Charles I.
Yes.
Cavalier with a capital C and a small c. Rather.
Very much so, because when he realised that the war wasn't going very well, he switched sides and
I was
fought for Parliament.
say, yeah, right. That was my next question.
Well, to be fair, he joined the winning side and he stayed on the winning side.
Yeah, he stayed on the winning side, even when the winning side became a different side.
Very
much. So he became a lieutenant in the Roundheads, the Parliament forces for Cromwell.
This is very much the basis of modern politics, really, isn't it? To switch to the winning side.
Sides to whatever.
To switch to change side of the house.
So what's made him swap?
A pragmatism.
Survival instinct.
Yeah.
Right.
And
so no one moment of, actually, do you know what? The other blokes have got they've got a point.
Have you ever heard the phrase, "to the victor the spoils"?
So he's just thought, actually, do you know what?
Yeah.
I'll just join the...
If I'm on the winning side, I get stuff out of it for myself.
Right.
So after the...
Dictate history and stuff.
Yes. After the war ended in 1653, Cromwell gave Colonel Blood large tracts of land in Ireland.
Always tracts, aren't they? You don't have tracts these days, do you? I mean, I know you say it, but you don't say... You never guess what I've just bought. In fact, you've done it in Scotland.
Yeah.
What did you buy? You bought you didn't buy tracts.
I must have been a singular tract. How much is a tract of land?
Well, exactly. How much... Is it just a phrase for a ton of land?
Yeah, is it a known unit of land?
A tract is a designated portion of property, most commonly called a section, which is 640 acres.
Oh, wow.
Actually, it's a lot of land.
Yeah. That is a lot of land.
You said tracts as well, didn't you?
Multiple tracts.
So you haven't bought a tract.
No.
Rue's bought some land in Scotland. But it's probably, I mean, it doesn't even get... We're not even at the T, really, are we? You haven't even got... Forget about the R.
you haven't reached the R in tract.
How many acres in a tract?
640 acres.
Right. So I have one 640th of a tract.
Very good. It's all right. It's more than I've got. So he was rewarded with large, as you said, large tracts of land.
Yes.
Imagine how much that was.
Well, we don't have to imagine.
It's large.
It's many hundreds of acres.
Yeah.
If it's plural, then it's over 1,000 acres.
Yeah, plenty.
So he was proved right to swap.
To make the move, the political move. Yeah,
That worked out well.
yeah, for a while.
Right. Okay.
Twist.
After a little while, the monarchy came back. As we know, we had the Restoration, and Charles II ascended the throne.
Yes.
So suddenly now people who fought for Parliament weren't in favour any longer.
What's the difference between Restoration and Reformation?
Restoration is the monarchy
Return
being
of the-
restored,
Yeah.
and the Reformation was reforming the religious part of the... That was Henry VIII did the Reformation. When they destroyed the monasteries, changing the religion. Of the
Right,
state.
okay. I was going to say the
The
Charles
formation
II
of the
was
Church of England.
Yeah.
I was going to
the-
say Charles II was came back in the Reformation, but that would have been wrong. Anyway,
A few hundred years out.
all that.
Yeah.
Continue.
So the Reformation was the reforming of the state, church, and religion. And the Restoration is the restoration of the monarchy in some...
So Charlie II was
Charles II.
restored.
It was restored to power, or the monarchy was restored to
Yes,
power in
yes.
the form of Charles II,
Yeah.
because Charles I famously would have come up short,
Yes.
having had his head lopped off some
Yes,
years
yes.
before. So now, people who had been given land and money and property under the Act...
Oh, yes. So suddenly on the wrong side.
Yeah,
surely.
under the
Yes.
Parliamentarians' Act of Settlement
Of course
of
they are.
Ireland.
Yeah.
Suddenly now the King brought in the new Act of Settlement, which decided to take that away from them.
Yo.
So, of course, it's caused some upset between all the people, the Cromwellians who were
Yes.
living in Ireland on their huge tracts.
Huge tracks.
Huge tracts.
Is that what a tractor is?
Yes.
Oh, right.
That works the land.
tractor.
Works your tract.
Oh, right.
See? There you go.
That's probably
tractor.
correct. He says without knowing anything.
Well, a farmer works a farm and a tractor works the tracts of land.
Yeah. There you go.
So now you've got upset people in powerful positions in Ireland.
Right. Yeah.
And they decide, of course, to start an insurrection.
You could argue that they had powerful positions that have been could be taken away, so they're not in powerful positions, but
they're still powerful. They're still rich noblemen.
right. Okay.
And they do have the land, but obviously
It hasn't been
grants
taken
were
back
being
yet.
slowly annulled.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Which would, of course, meant that they would have to run the manors and the thing without any money.
Yes. Right. Okay.
So then it would have caused bankruptcy.
Serves
So
them
in order
right.
to, it's all very well having a title, but if you don't have any money to back it up,
Okay.
it's not so great. So Colonel Blood, he decides they're going to storm Dublin Castle, take over the Irish Parliament, kidnap James Butler, who was first Duke of Ormond and the Lord Lieutenant of Ireland, seize power in Ireland,
Okay.
and kidnap the man in charge, the governor.
Bring me forth into that castle!
Good grief.
Quite the drama. Unfortunately, the plot was foiled the day before they were going to do it. Somewhat reminiscent of 17th century plots
Yeah.
from our Guy Fawkes episode.
Someone always
yeah.
gets wind of it.
Someone got wind.
Someone got wind.
Right.
Colonel Blood got away. He hid in the mountains.
Long grass.
In the long grass.
Hid in the mountains.
He hid in the mountains.
You have to get to the mountains first.
Well, he ran away.
Oh, all right. Fine.
He ran away and then he hid, and then having hid, he escapes to what was called at the time the United Dutch Provinces, which we would now call the Netherlands.
Oh, okay.
So it's the provinces of the Low Countries.
He's very rapidly looking like a thief, a coward, and a blackguard.
Yes, very much so.
Somebody who's
This
guilty.
is a set of behaviours he's going to repeat, I feel.
Yeah, again. Well, as you know, if you're poor, you're a thief, a coward, and a blackguard. If you're rich, you're a cavalier and an adventurer.
Yeah.
Right. But that's not what he was.
No, he
Thought
was
of.
an insurrectionist.
Yes.
He was
right, yeah.
that was rebellion. But his collaborators, or some of them at least, were executed for insurrection.
Storming the castle.
Yeah, on the orders of Ormond.
Yep. That's what I would have done.
Yeah, of course.
Get rid of it.
Yeah, so now Colonel Blood and the Duke of Ormond are now sworn enemies.
Yeah.
Hates him. In 1670, Colonel Blood returned to England from the Low Countries,
Yep.
and apparently he might have hidden himself in plain sight by pretending to be...
Yeah, sure, because he was wanted, wasn't he?
Yeah, so he sort of set himself up as an apothecary,
Is that 4 years after the fire?
Yeah.
That's 4 years after the fire, the Great Fire of London.
For which, if I'm remembering correctly, he was blamed by...
Oh, yeah, all the villains would be blamed
for practically everything that ever happened that went wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay. But he didn't do that at all, did he? That was just a mistake.
No, he didn't do it.
It's a bread shop.
It was a pudding.
Yeah.
Well, interestingly, I've discovered that the fire didn't start in Pudding Lane.
Did it not?
It started at the other end of the street.
We got new information.
The correct baker.
So
breaking news.
Breaking news.
It was next to Pudding.
It was next to Pudding Lane. It was on what is now Monument Street, although the monument wouldn't have been there because the monument is to the Great Fire of London.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
So they've kind of coincidentally put the monument where it belongs, really.
Yes. Now the monument is.
What do you mean coincidentally? It's exactly what it's meant to be.
But they didn't know that it started there.
Oh, right.
So the monument to the Great Fire of London that stands in Monument,
Yes.
which is in central London, is 202 feet high. Specifically because it was built to that height because it's supposed to be 202 feet from the bakery where
yes. Okay.
the fire started. However, given new evidence, it probably should have been significantly shorter.
Oh, okay. So it was just nearer to that exact spot.
Yeah. But yes, the Great Fire of London, 1666.
Yeah.
During which Samuel Pepys, the great diarist, famously buried his Parmesan in his back garden before fleeing the fire.
Yeah.
And the Sheriff of London...
He wrote about it as well, though, didn't
he wrote about it. He's buried his Parmesan. That's not a euphemism.
No.
He was just hoping to come back later for a toasted cheese sandwich.
Yeah. When the Mayor of London was told that the fire had broken out, he said not to worry because a woman might piss it out.
Right.
Utterously chivalry of the age.
Right. Great.
Now, the Duke of Ormond had returned from Ireland to England at that time and was staying at Clarendon House in London. And Colonel Blood decided that he was going to, this time, not kidnap the Duke, but commit bloody murder.
Good grief.
Well, he obviously tried kidnapping last time.
Yes.
And he just would have said, you again. Presumably. Don't know. Mind you, I don't know what he looked like. He presumably had a moustache and affected a Dutch accent. Hey.
Yes, I'm going to commit some bloody murders.
If you please. Yeah. Oh, well, all right. Yeah, so he might have done a bit of that.
Yeah.
But, what was he, a lord? Lord Ormond?
Yes, the Duke of Ormond.
Duke. He would have known something. So, hang on. Deja vu here. Duke of Ormond.
Well, on the night of 6th of December, Colonel Blood and some accomplices attacked Ormond while he was travelling in West London.
I know what you want. You want to kill me.
He was dragged out of his coach and tied up, and they pinned a note to his chest
saying "kick me,"
saying why they were going to kill him. This is so that his body would be left with their rationale behind. But one of Ormond's servants had chased on horseback, and he helped Ormond free himself, and they got away.
So they
don't know what the plotters were doing.
Pinned the message on him while he was alive.
Yeah.
To essentially...
To say why we've killed him.
Yeah.
But they revealing exactly what they were going to do, digging themselves into...
Well, yeah, I mean...
It's classic baddie behaviour, isn't it?
It's classic, yeah.
Before I kill you, I'm going to
let me explain
exactly what I was going to do. It is, isn't it?
Yeah,
was it in long? You know those. Curly writing. Was it like that?
One presumes.
Full on quill and parchment.
Yeah, and the S's look like S's.
It's like keep still. I'm trying to do a long S.
We're going to commit murder.
Oh, you've made me smudge.
Signed. Basil Exposition.
Stop wriggling. This ink's not dry.
So, that was ridiculous, wasn't it? That's classic Bond, isn't it?
But the thing,
before I die, tell me exactly.
Tell me how you did it. Right. Colonel Blood is there with some henchmen.
Yes.
They get the guy. They seem to spend all their time writing and pinning a note. Meanwhile,
They could have written the note beforehand.
this servant comes up and helps him escape. What were they doing while that was going on? Just
And
standing around
and he was on a
discussing-
horse, meaning he probably came from quite a long way.
yeah. So while they're standing around discussing whether they've written the right,
You've spelt
Turn of phrase.
restoration wrong. Yeah.
away he goes.
Why did everyone not like the Duke of... Or I say everyone, it was the same bloke, but why did he
Well, he did.
centre in on him?
Well, because he.
I know he was the nearest bloke who lived in a castle.
I don't think he was the
Dublin.
nearest. It's because he was in charge of Ireland at the time.
Okay, fine.
So they were going to take
he
over.
Finished
King of
that.
Ireland.
He was basically king of
But he
Ireland.
finished that because he,
He went
left.
back to England. Yes, but don't forget that he had Blood's co-conspirators executed. So
Oh, okay.
he wanted to get him.
Right. So he wanted to get him.
He's
got.
making he's making a statement and a minor insurrection as opposed to the major insurrection
Yes,
used
okay.
before by committing a murder, and presumably the note was something to the effect of, "That's for killing my
Bob
parliament
and
mates,
Alf and
you
Ian.
dick."
His other henchman.
His other henchman,
okay. Gang A.
Stuck a yellow post-it note on him. Get milk.
Yeah.
A. Yeah,
Oh no, not that one.
not that. Oh, I knew I should have written more than one note.
Where's the note explaining what we're going to do?
Right. Okay.
So, following the attempt on the Duke of Ormond's life, Colonel Blood again had to hide out, but
Yeah. In the mountains
in less than
of London.
in the mountains of London. He fled to the mountains. He in less than 6 months he reappeared. This time he was visiting the Tower of London,
Yes. Dressed as a parson.
dressed as a parson.
Right. Okay.
We'll go get the crown.
He's basically playing a long game. So he set himself up as the parson. He visited with a woman pretending to be his wife. And what you could do at the time was you basically paid the keeper of the jewels some money,
yeah.
and he would basically show you the jewels.
Wow.
And say, "Oh, yeah, there you go." And now the keeper of the jewels at the time was Talbot Edwards, who was 77 years old.
Yep.
And they lived in apartments in the keep there, him and his wife.
So an old frail man
Yeah.
is guarding the most valuable
entire-
jewels in the...
Of course. Who's going to steal the crown jewels? Come on. That would
Are
be
they?
crazy.
They're basically in exactly the same place they are now.
Yes. Are they in?
I don't know if they're in the tower, are they?
I thought
Yeah.
they moved, didn't they?
No, I think there's a copy in the
Some-
tower.
Oh, okay. All right. Fine.
Yeah. They might have moved.
Well, I've seen them there.
Yeah, I think I've seen them.
I have seen them there, but I don't know whether we're talking about the same. Well, we're not talking about exactly the same jewels, are we? But
Yeah, I think they
Yes.
are. Yeah.
are we?
Yeah.
But I was more interested to know if we are talking about exactly the same room, and you can do it now. Tourists can effectively pay. I mean, you don't pay the money to an elderly man, but effectively the same process occurs where you pay to go in and then you go and see the crown jewels. But I was, yes, more interested to know if it was literally the same room, and I wouldn't be surprised that it is.
Could well be.
I've been there and seen.
That.
Ooh, Jalali, a crown! How exciting!
Admittedly, I saw a crown with a load of jewels on it, which technically are the crown jewels. But
Yeah. Well, the crown jewels we're talking about here is is St Edward's crown
yep,
and the orb and sceptre. So
I'm pretty sure they're all there. They're behind a glass box.
the sceptre holds the Cullinan 1, which is the largest cut diamond in the world.
How big's that?
About a fist.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apple.
Yeah.
And then the centrepiece of the crown is the Cullinan 2, which is another cut from the same stone.
The sequel.
Cullinan 2, Curse of Cullinan.
Quickening. It's
There's about 10 or 12
It's like the
diamonds
size. Of
Cullinan 2, the Barbarian.
yeah. It's just a kind of. I think it's technically the front,
Yeah.
and it's just the size of a 50. Just the size of a 50p, but it's that kind of size.
So the Cullinan 1 is called the Great Star of Africa. Cullinan II is the second Star of Africa, and then there's 3 is the lesser, and so on.
The not as good Star of Africa.
The dimly twinkling star.
Are they all of Africa?
Well, they were cut from one diamond. There are 9 of them, 9 stones. 3,106 carats.
Yikes.
Was the original stone. Now, obviously, after the Civil War, the original crown jewels were sold or melted down by the Parliament.
Yes.
Because
why wouldn't
the
you?
kings.
Yeah.
But then when they, at the Restoration, with the monarchy coming back, they commissioned new ones. So, and the ones that they commissioned then, in the 17th century, they're the ones that we still have today.
Right, okay, yeah.
Right.
So, by being dressed as a parson, is the clergy a good idea, basically?
Again, just as much as no one would expect anyone to steal the crown
Exactly.
jewels, no one expects a parson
To do it.
to try and steal the crown jewels.
Exactly, yeah.
Unless you play Dungeons and Dragons, and then everybody knows that the cleric is always the one who's great at fighting.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about that.
Okay. Nerds. So Parson Blood visited the Tower of London with his inverted commas wife,
Yes.
and his wife feigned illness,
If you swoon, let me know. I'll catch you.
Oh, yeah.
and Talbot Edwards, the keeper of the jewels,
The one person who was
basically
The frail old man
The
goes
frail
to
old
help
man.
the swooning lady.
helped the swooning lady. So they were invited up
create
to
a diversion.
his apartments where
Oh,
they were
God.
taken care of, looked after.
I mean, to be honest, I think, what's his name? Talbot.
Talbot Edwards.
He should be charged as well for being ridiculous. What do you mean you took him upstairs?
She wasn't well as a parson's wife.
And you're the keeper of the jewels. Just get her a rock to sit on outside.
Get her a glass of water and some smelling salts.
Yeah.
So Colonel Blood, or Parson Blood, he returned again and again to the tower to express his thanks and gratitude. He presented 4 pairs of white gloves to Mrs. Edwards
Okay.
as to say thank you for
For each pair of arms that she has.
Was this over a period of days or?
I believe the pairs were presented as one gift
Okay,
altogether. But yeah, basically they made friends.
So hang on, he really was playing the long game. So that's not when he's struck.
Not yet.
Ah, right. Okay.
So he must be going backwards and forwards, waiting for the opportunity. You know, when
Right,
there's
okay.
nobody else around that day, maybe. And
Yeah, they're biding their time.
Right. Okay. All right. Fine. My interest is being pricked.
Well, when it came to a head was when Colonel Blood returned with a supposed offer of marriage for the Edwards' daughter, because he claimed that he had a nephew who would be a perfect match for their daughter, and there would be a supposed income of a lot of money, hundreds of pounds.
Okay.
So basically he's saying, you're a good family and you've got a fine daughter, I've got a nephew
Who's got some
who's
money?
got an income, you know,
And
you
that's
can
what
marry into a good
That's
family.
what it was all about, basically.
And they're like,
wasn't
oh,
it?
that sounds cool. I assume.
Yep.
let me buy your son.
Yeah. So he came by on the 9th of May with his supposed nephew and companions. And while there, they were going to have dinner with the Edwards. And while dinner was being prepared, Colonel Blood convinced Mr. Edwards, why don't you show my nephew the crown jewels?
Sure. Yeah. Why wouldn't you show?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you show your new mate, your
Yeah.
new great mate,
Yeah. Your best mate and
nice
your potential
surprise.
son-in-law.
Yeah.
The pride
who is doing you a
joy.
favour because he's potentially bringing money to your
Yeah.
family?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just
Why
show him
Yeah.
a quick glimpse of
Yeah. Quite right.
Sneaky
of
peek
your
round.
orb?
Yeah. While the missus is boiling the potatoes.
Sure. Yeah.
So down they go to the basement where the jewels are
Yep.
kept in security. And there, once Edwards opened the grill to the jewels, they revealed that suddenly they had pocket pistols and swords and daggers. And they leapt upon him. He was beaten, a cloak was thrown over his head.
Gosh.
He was struck with a mallet and bound up with a rope.
Right.
And even stabbed. Not mortally, but he was stabbed with a sword. He called out, as I said, treason, murder, the crown is stolen. They grabbed the crown jewels,
Oh, yeah.
Colonel Blood used the mallet he'd struck Edwards with to try and flatten the crown so he could put it under his shirt.
Oh, right.
Flattened the crown.
This crown gives me a feeling of power! Power!
Just, I mean, if it was me, if I was doing it,
You put it under a big hat.
I would have turned up and wearing a massive hat, obviously.
Yeah, like a bishop's mitre or a,
what do you call them?
a chef's
Not a
hat.
beehive.
Haircut.
You know, the soldier.
A soldier. Bearskin.
Bearskin. There you go.
Yeah.
Or a big fez.
Yeah, why not? Cool.
I mean, that's obvious, isn't it?
Yeah.
Put it under a big hat.
If a crown is made to be put on the head, just put
Where
a
would
big,
you? What are the other ones? What's a sceptre? A kind of
is a
sword.
big old stick.
Yeah.
With
A big stick.
big long stick.
Stick it down your trouser leg.
Well, it's
An orb?
interesting you should say that.
What's an orb?
The orb is a
I know it's a ball, but I mean, is it on anything?
No, it's just a
No,
ball with
yeah.
a like cross on the top.
You know, you just put that in a bag.
Well, interesting. It's very
Oh, right.
interesting you should say that. You said stuff the sceptre down your trousers. You said put the orb in a bag.
Oh.
Well, Blood's brother-in-law filed the sceptre in half because it wouldn't fit in the bag.
Oh, for God's
While
sake.
the other fellow, Perrault, put the orb down his trousers.
Oh, so they did it the other way
All the way
around.
round.
These
Oh,
are
for
not
God's sake.
planning people, are they?
I mean, how many times had they seen what they were going to steal?
Yeah.
And they
now,
did
quite
exact-
famous.
Well, I know. Yeah, exactly. You don't have to see them.
I absolutely laugh that you said that. Those exact things. Put it in a bag, put it down your trousers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Those
did
are exactly the things
the
they
other
did.
way round.
But the other,
Yeah.
Now remember, when we go in, so I put what goes in the trousers?
Hang on. What? I'm just going to flatten the large head-shaped thing.
Where does the long stick go? In the little bag?
No, let's get this right. Stick goes in the bag, orb goes in the trousers. No, hang on, no.
Oh, God. Right, okay.
You're not supposed to. No.
So did he manage to saw it in half?
He did cut it in half, yes.
And did he manage to bash it in with a mallet?
He did, yeah.
What was sawn in half? The sceptre.
The sceptre. The stick was sawn in half. The orb was trousered.
Trouser.
The crown was flattened.
This is 2/3 of the crown jewels are now damaged beyond repair.
Yeah.
This is a theft going really well.
So if you're going to shout thief, treason, what did he shout? Treason, murder.
The crown is stolen.
In those
From
days,
the basement.
Oh yeah, I suppose it was the basement. I was going to say in those days, people would hear that. I'd kind of assume,
Yeah.
wouldn't you?
Probably.
Would they?
I would have thought so.
Because the crown.
Well, it's still the Tower of London. There
Well,
were
exactly,
guards.
yeah. Oh, right. Oh, okay, yeah. I was going to say the Tower of London. I mean, it's kind of a bit distance from people living, but if there's guards,
Well, there would have been
then-
people living in the town.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So the gang had to now flee with the alarm raised.
With the stuff.
Yep. They ran to the horses which were waiting at the side of
Sure.
St. Catherine's Gate at the side of
They managed to plan to have 2 horses.
Quick, saw the horse in half.
On the way, they dropped the sceptre.
Lay down my scepter!
Of course they did.
Which all
half?
of it.
Well, presumably both halves.
God.
But they didn't get very far. They fired at the guards, and one of them was hit but survived. And but they were captured because they basically the guards managed to subdue them. The guards had muskets and they had pocket pistols.
As though the ones you've got one shot,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then you have to reload.
Yeah.
you have to reload. So if you're good,
You've got to make it worth it.
fire maybe 3 shots in a minute.
Gosh, that is good, isn't it?
Because you're
If
good
you're
at
good,
reloading.
Yes,
That sounds quite a lot.
that's.
But if you're
good,
hit, if we're this far apart, and obviously
you'd use a sword.
Oh, all right, fine. But if both
Or
of you are
beat him over the
firing,
head with the butt of the gun.
if both
Oh,
of
yeah,
you,
yeah,
are,
for sure.
if both of you are firing, then you're both standing there in silence, trying to
Stuffing a wad
reload.
down the barrel.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't think you. No,
No, you just go.
you fire and then you turn it around and you use the butt.
Yeah,
as a,
right.
as a-
Fine. Yeah.
as a club.
You're a bit useless gun unless you were really
Guns.
really good at it.
Tell that to our American audience.
No, I
They're
mean,
useless guns. Yeah. you might get
no,
rid of-
400 years
but they
ago.
are though, aren't they?
Yeah.
They are, though.
They are, right.
But it's
What
one
uses a
shot
gun
or
against a man
nothing.
with a gun?
Yeah,
It's one shot or nothing, kind of, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
one shot and then it's a stick,
Yeah.
as opposed to 1,000 rounds a minute, which modern
Yeah, sure.
machine guns are fire. You try 3,
Yeah.
and then
And modern assault rifles can practically put bullets butt to tip in a
Sure,
long
yeah, yeah.
chain.
yeah.
Like wildebeest. They walking along.
Like elephants.
Oh, yeah. They hold each other's tails.
So Colonel Blood and his brother-in-law Hunt and their companion Perrault
Yep.
were all captured and arrested there and then. Although while Blood struggled, he refused to be arrested. He was eventually subdued. He shouted out, it's recorded, he said, "It was a gallant attempt, however unsuccessful. It was for the crown."
Did he say all of that?
Yeah.
That's quite a long sentence to
He's
shout
reported
out.
to us.
Okay.
And he clearly struggled for a while before he was eventually
Yeah,
subdued.
okay.
It was for a crown, not the crown.
Yep.
It was for a crown. Well, we know that because you smashed it with a mallet and shoved it
Sure,
up your
yeah.
jumper. This is where it gets interesting. Now, this is a man who has led an insurrection in Ireland, attempted
Yes.
to murder the former Lieutenant Governor of Ireland,
Again.
and now attempted to steal the crown jewels.
And stabbed and bludgeoned the guard of the tower.
Yeah. Now, you would imagine... What would you imagine a kind of punishment that he would get for that?
I'd send him back home to the tower again.
He'd be tortured
Hanged,
or something.
drawn and
Yeah. Oh, yes. And
Yeah.
then hung, drawn and tortured. Yeah, yeah.
Until it really hurt.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Well, Colonel Blood would not be questioned. He said he would only answer to the king.
Yes.
They said, all right then. So they took him before the king.
Right.
And King Charles II stated, "What if I should give you your life?" And Colonel Blood replied, "I would endeavour to deserve it, sire." And so he was pardoned.
Wow. What is
The
it?
king said, "Oh, fair enough, I'll let you off then."
I am the king. I can do whatever I want.
Is that the end of that?
Well, no, that was not the end of that,
Oh, right,
because
okay.
he also was given land in Ireland.
Really? Massive tracts.
Huge tracts of land. Well, the land had an income of £500 a year, which
not bad.
which in 1670
massive.
is a lot of money. Yeah.
Well, that's ridiculous.
Just for comparison, Edwards, the keeper of the jewels, he and his family were given a little under £300, which they never received in full
Wow.
Oh, wow.
for protecting the jewels and raising the alarm.
Is that classic? And we see it a lot today. If you're powerful and rich, you basically can get away with it.
Yeah. And if you're a baddie on the right side, you can do well out of it.
Yeah. If you
think-
were
I
a
think it-
peasant
Yeah.
dressed as a parson, and to try and nick the crown jewels, you'd have lasted 5 minutes.
Yeah. You probably wouldn't have lived the end of the day.
No,
shouldn't
no.
you?
I think part of it is the audacity of the man, the bravado, because the king, you go before the king and, I'm this brash,
Yeah.
pompous, kind of
Blackguard.
character. Yeah, he's a bit of a lad, he's a bit, "Ooh."
Yeah.
And it's like, and the king apparently may have been, like that kind of a character. So he
Well,
says,
clearly.
Well, you come before me. What if I let you off? Well, then I'll earn it. Okay, that sounds good. Go away.
mean,
and
there's-
earn
but
it.
there's
Be my
letting
loyal
off.
servant.
There's letting off, and oh, by the way, here's a load of land.
Rewarding as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, letting them off is, like you say, was one thing.
Oh dear, it's made a sour taste in my
does rather.
mouth.
Yeah.
By the way, Parsons Blood is the name of my new prog rock album.
Hey.
Out
It's like the bitter taste of lemon flower.
on, well, I'm thinking of an old record label. On K-Tel.
Well, you can imagine that the Duke of Ormond was furious.
Oh yeah, yeah. Of course, yeah.
He tries to kill me.
More than slightly miffed.
Yeah, he wasn't. He was not happy at all.
Yeah, but he wasn't.
I'm not happy. Not happy.
And moreover, Colonel Blood, having now been pardoned, made himself a regular at the royal court, swanning
Oh,
around
God.
to go, all right,
Right,
rubbing it in the
Didn't he?
lords' faces.
mate. Yeah, right.
I'm surprised he didn't give himself a promotion to something above Colonel.
Yeah.
I'm
for sure.
assuming because he was pardoned and from on high, did they all have to feign matiness, or did they shun him?
They had to show due deference
Right.
to
Yeah.
his position, but I'm pretty sure he didn't make many friends.
No, I suppose not.
He was imprisoned for a time for another reason. In 1679, he and the Duke of Buckingham fell out. Apparently, Colonel Blood had made some disparaging remarks. And Buckingham,
Fancy that.
Yeah. And Buckingham sued him for £10,000, which would be
That's
a huge amount of money.
What, for making some remarks?
For being rude.
God.
If you've got an issue, here's a tissue.
Because for being rude, you can go to prison.
Yeah, exactly.
For,
yeah.
for attempted
All
murder
the
and
other
theft
stuff.
and treason.
Here's some land.
You get rewarded.
Yeah.
He was convicted. He didn't ever pay the damages he was expected to pay.
See, what should have happened, I'll tell you what should have happened. For a very, very minor offence, I mean, it doesn't actually sound like much of an offence, but he was convicted and fined and stuff, and they should have done the old Al Capone on him and hung him for being rude, meaning you get him for
the other charge.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Get him for other crimes.
The equivalent of tax evasion.
And the king would have gone, oh, it's terribly sorry, we're going to have to fine you for this. Oh, and by the way, we're going, but sire, he would have said.
Buckingham should have challenged him to a duel to serve his honour.
You've been pardoned for attempted murder and treason, but for naughty words, we find you guilty.
Yeah.
So in July 1680, Blood came out of prison, but he didn't live long. Within a couple of months, he passed away. He fell into a coma and he died.
Just natural causes?
Natural causes, yeah. I don't know the specifics, but they would have been woolly at the time.
Yeah,
He would have died of being faint or something along those lines. The way they worded it.
Of ill humour.
Of ill humour, yeah.
Yeah, right, okay. So we don't know the official reason, but what could he have... Let's just pin something on him. What could he have died of?
Possible causes of death might have included dropsy, tympany. That's a big drum.
Timpani, it is a drum.
Consumption and cough.
Consumption and cough?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Teeth and worms.
Can he die of teeth? He teethed himself to death.
Yeah, he could be apoplectic. Impostern. I don't know, he's just made up words.
Impostern?
A large number of people died suddenly.
Really?
You could otherwise died of Flox.
So that probably would have been heart attacks, wouldn't it? Suddenly? Would it?
Just unknown cause.
Unknown.
Just
Well, I bet heart attacks isn't in there.
No.
I mean, I know it might not be listed like that.
You could also have died of one of the Dr. Seuss diseases. Flox, pox and flux.
Nice.
Terrible pox all over his socks.
Old age diseases are hilarious.
could not die of flux.
I would not, could not.
Why are all
Fox in flux.
Why are all old diseases hilarious? It's true, though, isn't it?
Until you die suddenly of one.
Well, I don't know. If I died one of those, it'd be hilarious. Everyone would go, hey!
For all concerned.
You never guess how he died. He died of flux, pox, and
Flux.
some cough.
He died of cough.
He died of teeth and worms.
Now, it was believed that he might have faked his death to avoid paying the debt to Milord Buckingham.
Right,
so, of course, they had to exhume his body to check and make sure he was actually dead. But
Exhume his
How long did they
skeleton.
leave it before they exhumed him?
oh, not long.
Okay. Because it needs to be not long.
It needs to be
I
long.
know.
It doesn't
Otherwise,
take
Otherwise, you
long.
wouldn't recognise him very
exactly. It doesn't take long for you to not look like
otherwise he could have been actually alive, but now he's dead because you buried him.
Now, you know how much we enjoy a rhyme?
you. Yeah.
I've got two.
Oh,
Not one, but
About
two.
him or the episode.
About. Why would anyone write a rhyme about the episode?
No, I mean the stealing of the jewels thing.
Oh, well, I have two. I'll tell you.
Jesus.
So the first is his epitaph,
Yep.
which says, Here lies the man who boldly hath run through more villainies than England ever knew, and ne'er to any friend he had was true. Here let him then by all unpitied lie, let's rejoice his time was come to die.
It's not exactly celebrating him, is it?
No, so there you go. He's gone, and have at him. But one of my favourite ones is was in a book called The History of Insipids. God. Yep. In which the Earl of Rochester wrote of Colonel Blood, blood that wears treason in his face, villain complete in parson's gown. How much he is at court in grace for stealing Ormond and the crown. Since loyalty does no man good, let's steal the king and outdo Blood.
A little half rhyme, but I'll forgive him.
Outdo Blue.
Exactly. Yeah.
How do you steal the king?
That was better. That one.
King. He stole Ormond to steal the king.
He technically didn't fully steal the crown.
He didn't. Yeah, he didn't really do any of it.
He didn't get away with it.
He failed to steal.
But anyway.
Failed to steal the crown. But good rhyme, though. Good rhyme. Culturally, then.
Yeah, I can't believe there's tons, but is there? Like, for instance, we all fire fireworks into the sky, whatever it is, 400 years later. We don't all, I don't know, wear jewels.
Hats.
Wear jewels on a Thursday, whatever. Or
do you not
run around
now?
Yeah.
On every 9th of May, we smash our hats, slap our sticks in
exactly,
and put a large ball down our trousers.
There's no celebration of, let's face it, was a plot to steal something to do with the crown.
Yeah.
Which is effectively what it. Well, actually, the other one was Parliament, wasn't it? But anyway, it's the same kind of attack, but the other one was foiled and is now celebrated. But
well, that was an attack directly on the life of the king. This was This was not. Of course. Less so. So it's treason in the sense it is stolen the king's stuff.
Very much so. Yeah.
But it wasn't an attempt on his life. In which case, he might not have been in such good wit.
Yeah. We all know.
Pardon you and give you 500 quid worth.
We all know the kind of. Perhaps it's just a phrase of stolen the crown jewels, but no one would be able to name, even though it's a very memorable name. No one would name Colonel Blood, would they? Although you'd think they would, because I mean that's a pretty good memorable name.
Yeah, well, Colonel Blood is, I would say, more often incorrectly named Captain Blood.
Okay.
And that is probably because of the film starring Errol Flynn, which came out in 1935, which, let's face it, is nothing to do with it.
Oh, right. It's just a name.
Yeah, okay. It's probably...
Captain Blood does sound more like a pirate.
It does sound like a pirate.
Is it about pirates?
Well, Colonel Blood was probably the inspiration for the character, which they then adapted into a movie from a book.
To me, Errol Flynn is Robin Hood or a pirate. Is it a pirate?
I think it's a swashbuckling pirate film.
Hey!
With Basil Rathbone, who was also in Adventures of Robin Hood.
Yeah.
As Sir Guy of Gisborne.
We know all about pirates because we've done loads of
we've done no
pirate podcasts.
We've done all the pirates.
All the pirates. We've done no episodes.
Me and Rue are convinced we've done loads of pirate episodes, but apparently we found out this evening that we've done none.
Yes, Colonel Blood, not a pirate. Bluebeard, not a pirate. Ruth Ellis wasn't a pirate.
Jack.
What? They're just making loads.
Naming pirates.
Jack Strap's not a pirate.
Have you seen that film? Captain Blood?
I have, a long time ago.
Have you?
Yeah, not when it came out, but...
Has it got music in it?
No, I don't think so. It has a soundtrack, but they don't burst into song. It's not Camelot.
Now come on, boys. Where's your spirit? I don't hear no singing.
Vic Reeves did a series a while back called Rogues Gallery, where he covered various adventurers and the like.
Historical adventures.
Yeah, and he did an episode on Colonel Blood. It is classic kind of Vic Reeves homemade comedy.
Okay.
And looks like, I mean, the costumes
not
are clearly
necessarily
out of the BBC
factual
store, but it looks like it's been recorded in his garden.
Right. Okay.
But it's humorous.
Is it factual?
Yeah.
Right.
It's fairly factual.
Right, fine.
Fairly factual, and he does a 3/4 Irish accent in it.
Okay.
It's more of a Irish politician accent
Oh, right. Oh, that. Yes, okay.
than a County Clare accent.
Right, yeah, okay.
David Walliams,
Yes.
the comedian, let's say comedian, and children's author.
Yep.
In his book Gangster Granny, he references the attempt to steal the crown jewels in that, and there's a board game as well.
Crown Jewels?
It's called Outrage.
Yeah, right.
I tried to get a copy for this episode.
Wow, really?
What, buy?
Yeah.
Buy it off.
I managed to find one, but I couldn't get it here for today.
Oh, well, you bought one.
No, I didn't. I didn't buy it.
Oh, because the delivery.
Because I couldn't have got it here in time, so I didn't in the end.
That's tedious.
I wonder if it's rubbish.
It's basically you compete to steal the crown jewels.
Oh, right, yeah, okay. A live
Yeah, that would have been
talk along.
Yeah. But I suppose there can be no greater honour than that which was bestowed on Colonel Blood in 2014, when the villains of a particular film attempt to steal the crown jewels, and there, hanging on the wall, is a portrait of Colonel Blood in Muppet form.
Wow.
I refer, of course, to the Walt Disney film Muppets Most Wanted.
Wow.
superb.
I mean, the only thing about that is that we don't know what he looks like anyway.
We do. There's pictures of him. Etchings.
All right, I'll change that. I don't know. Excellent.
He looks like a Muppet.
In the background as they run past
There's a portrait of him. Yeah.
Well, that's good.
As a
Muppet form. That's excellent.
Stadler?
What?
Is that it?
Yes, it's over. How'd you like it?
I don't know. I slept through the whole thing.
Well, you didn't miss much.
That's all for this time. If you want to know more about what we've talked about on this episode, then just Google it or something. You can listen to all of our previous episodes on our website. That's www.truecrimediary.co.uk. Please remember to leave a review on your podcast provider if you can, or you can email us. That's stuff@truecrimediary.co.uk. My thanks to Jed and Rue and to all of you for listening, and we'll see you again on the next date in our True Crime Diary.